So, welcome to the Evolution Franchising Podcast. My name is Mike Welch. I'm the founder of Evolution Franchising, and we help people find and evaluate great franchise opportunities. Our service is a lot like a buyer's agent in a real estate transaction. So, if you've ever bought a home and you had somebody help you get into those houses, that's kind of what we do. I'm really excited to have, and I hate to say it, Frank, but an old friend of mine. I've known him
Yeah,
for a long, long time.
uh,
Frank Milner is here with Tutor Doctor. So, Frank, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about where you've been and what you've done?
yeah, great. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate being here with you today. Um, yeah, my name's Frank Milner. I'm the CEO of a company called Tutor Doctor. We work with students. We send tutors to the home to work with students to help them improve their grades, their study skills, etc. And I've had the pleasure and honor of leading this company over the past 14, 15 years or so. I can't believe it's that long, just time flies. But, we started back in 2007, early 2008. We actually sold our first franchise partway through 2008. Fast forward to where we are today, we've got I think around 350 franchisees that operate around 600 franchise territories, and we're actually operating in 16 different countries around the world right now. So it's been a heck of a journey. And the really exciting part for me is that at Tutor Doctor, we feel like it's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of where we're headed as an organization. So, yeah, nice to be in a position where I'm just as excited today as I was, 15 years ago or so when we started.
You sound like a guy who just started yesterday, and a decade and a half later. That's awesome. So, I mean, you're kind of my go-to guy for anything that's education related. I like affiliating myself with organizations that support our troops and support elderly folks, and then of course the kids. As a father of four, your mission has always been near and dear to my heart. So, what's going on in education these days?
Yeah, education, it's kind of a bad news, good news story. I mean, listen, we all know COVID was really tough on students, and in many ways they took the brunt, with school closures, etc. And unfortunately, that's put them behind the eight ball a little bit. In fact, there's a recent McKinsey and Co. Um, um, a study that was done that said students on average are behind about 5 months in mathematics and 4 months in reading. And it's not like it just takes 5 months to catch up. It actually takes years to catch up. Um, there's been a toll on their mental health as a result. So it's been tough on students. But the good news side of the equation is that there is help available to them from companies like us, like Tutor Doctor and others who really are well positioned to help close that gap. And as a result, the industry, the education industry, and the tutoring industry specifically, is now slated to grow by about 30% over the next 5 years. And we're talking about billions and billions of dollars in growth. And, for us, as I said, we're really well positioned to tap into that growth and do it while helping students. And that's really where our mission comes in. Our mission is to change the trajectory of students' lives, and we get to do that every day.
Yeah. So, I guess two questions. What did you guys learn during COVID? And what innovations are going on right now as maybe as a result of those learnings? Anything going on internally?
Yeah, well, lots of learnings as a result of COVID. I mean, it really forced us to become really good operationally. And that's not to say it wasn't challenging, but so much changed in our world. I mentioned we send tutors to the home. When COVID hit, we just couldn't do that. So we had to make a very rapid shift to online, as you know, a lot of companies did. But we had very few students learning online prior to COVID. When COVID hit, we went to 100% online. And now coming out, having come out of COVID, we've adapted where we're offering very often a hybrid model that includes portion online and a portion in person. So families, parents, and students have really benefited from that. And we are, again, well positioned to make sure that we are taking those learnings and applying them in our business. So, customers changed a little bit during COVID, the way they like to receive products, etc. So, one of the things we did, you asked about innovation. Just a specific example of one of the things that happened during COVID was, we used to go into the home to sit at the kitchen table with mom and dad. During COVID, everything shifted to Zoom, and that piece has continued afterwards. But it's a little bit different going through a consultation process through Zoom than it is in person. So
Makes sense.
we had to step back and just look at our entire process. We actually brought in some outside consultants to help us do this, but we totally revamped that whole consultation process so that we can better connect with moms, dads, and students, because it was taking place through this medium as opposed to sitting directly across from them. And the outcome of that was our what we call our 3C consultation process. It stands for customer-centric consultations. So we made those adjustments and have worked hard to, just skill up our entire franchisee network so that we can meet those kind of changing demands of parents. But there are many examples like that of innovations that took place that have really impacted the way we move forward into the future. And it's exciting stuff.
I think the world does business differently now than it did a short 2.5, 3 years ago. Necessity is the mother of invention. And as painful as it was to go through that while we were going through it, we've, I think, really become, at least those of us who have evolved, pretty efficient in ways that maybe we weren't before, if we're being honest, in an honest moment, were we as efficient as we could have been, or were we leaving a lot of meat on the bone? And I think the answer is we were probably kind of fat and happy, and our world got shaken up, and we learned how to be very lean, mean, and efficient machines. And so I
Yeah,
know that Tutor Doctor was certainly at the forefront of that because of the service you provide. It's so mission critical. And when you can't go sit in a home with a kid who really needs the help, again, father of four, you got to find solutions and ways to deliver on that service that you guys offer that's so needed. So,
yeah. I just want to make a comment on that because I think you hit a nail on the head there. And for us, the big learning is it's forced us to challenge our assumptions about everything that we do, right? To look, step back from the business and question, we do things a certain way, and very often we do things a certain way because that's the way we've always done it.
right.
But that has opened our eyes up to the importance of just taking the time to take that step back from the business and look at it, with a different pair of lenses on, if you will. So couldn't agree with you more on that.
So I love Tutor Doctor. I always have. You and I have, been pretty fast friends over the years. Um, so I know quite a bit about the business, but there's no such thing as, this perfect business, a business in a bubble, right?
Mm.
And I bring this up on the podcast with every guest. And so what are some of the things that people need to be prepared to work through or overcome? In other words, what are some of the challenges that a tutor doctor owner might face, and if they don't have the skill set or the tenacity to work through these three things or whatever it is, then it might not be the right fit for them. What would some of those things be in your world?
Yeah, well, the reality is business is hard and it's not for everyone. As a result of a lot of the changes, we've really had to take a hard look at things like our training and how new franchisees learn. One reality is that we have to be very active in our communities as franchise owners. And for a new franchisee coming in, that often entails getting out of our comfort zones, because we're going physically into the community, we're introducing ourselves to schools, we're introducing ourselves to other businesses, business owners who cater to the same clientele that we cater to, etc. And often that's, as I said, out of the comfort zone. So one of the changes that we've made to adapt to that reality is in our initial training, we actually have our franchisees go out during training and do some of that stuff in training, and then come back and we talk about it as a group, and it's a whole different dynamic that lands up being at play from something that's being very scary and
They're scared of
whoa,
it, right?
yeah, I have
Yeah.
to do that. When they go out and do it and they come back and they share their experience as a group, 9 out of 10 cases, the franchisees are excited about the reception they got and are surprised at how open people are to having the conversation. And it changes that mindset a little bit and gets them really excited about doing it more. So, I'd say that's one of the biggest challenges, just getting things off the ground and having that action orientation. And as a result, we've put a lot of work into our launch support for franchisees to do that. And the outcome of putting resources to our launch support, our franchisees in their first 90 days in a business this year are 127% more effective, meaning they're getting 127% more sales than we saw from that same group of franchisees a year ago in that first 90 days in the business. So it's really having a positive impact.
Well, I would say that that's working, right?
Yeah, it's working really well.
And I know you're a big you believe that you can't manage what you don't measure. So
Yes.
I'm not surprised at all that you can rattle off 127%, not 126 or 128. It's 127.
Yeah,
So
well, it is
that's
what it is.
that's awesome. So in your world, they need to be able to get out, network, sing the song, tell the story. And the good news is your mission is so beautiful that
Mm,
it's always going to be well received. If I owned a tutor doctor and I was out in the community telling people what we did, and someone goes, ugh, like that person might not make it to heaven. I'm not, that's a bad person that you're interacting with
I
there,
know.
right? So
Yeah.
I love it. That's terrific. Now, I mean, I mentioned it a couple times. I've known you for a long time, watched the brand grow over the years. It really does seem it's an international brand. I mean, in multi countries. What
Hmm.
makes Tutor Doctor special? What's the recipe of your Big Mac sauce?
Yeah, great question. We have a saying at Tutor Doctor. We say it's one thing to make a dollar, it's another thing to also make a difference. And that's the beauty of Tutor Doctor, is that we get to do both. As I mentioned, our mission is to change the trajectory of students' lives, and we
Yeah.
get to do that every single day in our business. And, we have a global team call every week, every Tuesday at 11 a.m. And we all get on a call and we talk about some of these things and some of the impact that we're having with students in our communities, and the stories that of that impact are absolutely amazing. And I'm years into it, as I mentioned at the start, and I listen to those stories and I still get goosebumps. We actually had one of our students recently, maybe about maybe about a month ago now, who came on our global team call and just spoke about the impact that our tutoring has had on him. And this was a kid who had Asperger's, and it was just amazing to be a part of that. I mean, there
Tell
was
me
some
that
tears
didn't
shed, you know.
that fired the team up, didn't it?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's the beauty of what we do. We do really important work. It has an impact. We don't have to wait 10 years to see the impact of what we're doing. It has an impact immediately. And, that's just, it just feels really great to be a part of something like that.
So there's no perfect business. There's no perfect candidate for you guys either. I'm sure that you got folks from all walks of life. But if you could dream up a blueprint of an ideal candidate, what does that look like in your world?
Um, to me, it looks like people coming in who have a really strong attitude. Attitude counts in business. It counts a lot, and I don't mean to sound fluffy here. And I'm not just preaching positive mental attitude, but I'm talking about a strong attitude, an expectant attitude, etc. Um, the second ingredient I look for are folks who are willing to work hard. I make no bones about it. We work hard in our business. We wear many different hats, and we make things happen. We're very proactive. We're not a storefront. Folks aren't walking in the door. We go out and we're talking to people. We're very proactive in that. So that element of hard work is essential for success in our business. And the third piece I'd share with you, Mike, is it's about a willingness to be better, right? To work on ourselves and to continue to develop ourselves. I mentioned our global team calls, but we have boot camps that we run on different areas of the business at different times of year. So just being willing to put into that effort put in that effort to continually work on ourselves and to work on our skills. Those are three things that really contribute to a successful franchisee. And those things are hard to teach. I need to attract people who are willing, who bring that willingness with them. That's an inside out thing. So yeah, hope that answers your
It
question.
does. It does perfectly. And one of I always quote Luke 12:48, and I'm not I'm not going to go down any kind of rabbit hole here, but it's a verse in the Bible that says, "To whom much is given, much is required," and it
Mm,
speaks to so anybody watching this, right? Frank's number two is a universal. Owning a business is hard work. It is not easy. If it was, so cliche to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. Everybody would do it,
absolutely.
and it to whom much is given, much is required. So if you want a different outcome than the majority of the people that get, you've got to do things that they're unwilling to do. And so thanks for saying that. And
Yeah,
that's just straight truth and honesty. So
absolutely. And it's
yeah,
nice to have that control, knowing if you do those things, you will get the results that you want. You'll achieve your goals.
yeah. So Brene Brown, if you look her up,
Hmm.
I just got done reading Tribe of Mentors by Tim
Hmm.
Ferriss, and it's a really neat book. It's about 100 mini books in one book. It's 8 questions asked of various philanthropists, celebrities, athletes. It's really neat. But I had never heard of her. I've ended up following her since I read her section of the book.
Big
But
fan.
she talks about you are okay. So she talks
Yeah.
about comfort. What is it? Oh, I'm drawing a blank right now. She says, hang on, I got to look it up. There's no way I can
I
let
guess
this
I'm
go.
not that big of a fan because otherwise I'd be able to help you out here.
Yeah,
But
it was just on the tip of my tongue till I started explaining explaining how I came across the quote. But she says choose courage over comfort.
Mm,
Courage over comfort. So
absolutely.
sorry it took 30 seconds for me to find it, everybody. I hope that was worth your time. But if you
Love
want to
that.
be a successful business owner, you have to choose courage over comfort.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, I've got a personal definition of courage because, you know, as we've spoken about, business is hard and business is scary. It can be scary at times. And for me, that courage, you know, it's not the absence of fear, but it's willing to take that action despite the fear that we feel. And I think that comes from her as well.
I love it. So listen, I really, really appreciate you spending the time. I know the CEO of a international multi-company organization is a busy man, so I really appreciate the fact
Anytime,
that you got
Mike.
enough love for me to carve this time out. Why don't I pass the mic over to you and any final words, anything you want to say about Tutor Doctor or anything you want to say to the people watching this on our way out?
Yeah, listen, I've said what makes this business special to me. It's, you know, it's kind of cool. Listen, Tutor Doctor is my favorite subject. I can talk about it all day long, but we're super excited about the future. Our ultimate goal is to make Tutor Doctor a household name across the globe. We're on our way to doing that. We're experiencing great results in countries like the UK, Australia, South Africa, Latin America, and it's very exciting. I've got a brilliant team, a home office team that, you know, they sound just like me, you know, very committed to our mission, and makes it fun to work in that environment. We got a great culture of franchisees who work hard and collaborate together all the time. And we're just looking for great people to join our family and help us to achieve that objective of turning Tutor Doctor into a household name.
All right, my friend. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Frank Milner from Tutor
Thank
Doctor,
you.
great franchise company. So appreciate
Thanks,
it,
Mike.
Frank.
You got me all hyped up here, man. Thanks,
Yeah,
buddy.
I know. Now go change the world. Now all you have to do is go change the world, brother.
I'm ready.
All right. Thanks, Frank.
Thanks. Cheers.
Take care.